All right, we're live.
All right, here we are.
Hear me or see me?
Yeah, but you got to talk up.
Hello. Yeah.
We can hear you, Gary. So we got Gary, Dr. Hills, on live from the UK, and we also have Green Body from Oregon, right?
You got it.
Yo, and we got Jorge Cervantes, the one and only, in the house.
Yeah.
And I'm Stefan.
Stefan, Meyer. We got the three authors here.
Yes.
And we're in Barcelona. So
back to Spain.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so let's see we've got this is about the new free book, and this is our first episode. So we're a little disorganized, but that's okay because we're going to do this every month, and we'll get more practice as we go.
Absolutely, we're working out. You see, we got banners and things going on, so much better. We had some bad feedback from the one from Vegas. There was a very bad Wi-Fi there. Actually, 40,000 people. So it wasn't the best quality. We are trying to improve step by step.
Yeah.
And but meanwhile, that was nice. Actually, the three of us were in Vegas, and you were kind of.
Well, I was kind of there.
Exactly.
I was kind of there. I was represented.
Yeah, we felt you were there, right?
Alter Ego was there.
Yeah,
Alter Ego got a steal.
Many places.
Yes. So, Gary, what was maybe your impression? We were there together in Vegas. Well, pretty big, no? Almost too difficult to find someone, no?
I think I just kept saying the scale. God, the scale. They used to come in from the UK where there's like.
What was it? 1,400 stand.
Yeah,
for sure.
It took you
I think
probably.
We even had like one time where second floor, and I was already, so it was double that. Well, if I knew we were the same, right? You didn't realize there was a second floor.
Boy, he's cutting out pretty
good. You're cutting out a little bit. Maybe some connection there. But yeah, it was so big. I think it would take 2.5 hours just to jog around it. It was crazy. Just to walk from one place to another. Every time it was half an hour before you get lost again. Yeah, so.
That's awfully big. It's really hard to stay concentrated to make meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah, or to meet people again. It's like the chaos laws. Yeah.
One shot, one time. You see them one time, and then disappear into the crowd.
Yeah, but we got to see all of us.
But what kind of things did you see there that were interesting to you, though? There
maybe a good question for Green Body.
Industry on where it's at and what the perspective is of it on a commercial level. It's like basically a bunch of mimics kind of, and a mirroring, but I think overall, obviously, like Foss's booth was, their lighting capacity was insane. It was a little, just redundant, honestly, like you're saying, just letting the synchronicity of the whole event take place and all the meetings happen kind of in this kind of flow was really interesting, actually. That was kind of, because the technology was there. That's obviously, a no-brainer, but just actions of the community and how the interweavings of all that kind of played together was actually, that was, I think, kind of the highlight for me of the event,
Cool. Well, you mentioned false lighting, and did they have anything else? Man, those guys are just brighter than anybody else, I mean, they're just like, the lights won't quit, I mean, they are excellent. They got great penetration and stuff.
You can get a tan at their booth. That's for one thing, you know, like it's you tell where they're at. I mean, from the most small wattage clone light to light that you can hang 15 foot above your canopy if you wanted and still get max penetration and have it all. So it's cool, you know, they have everything, you know, anyone would want on Nation. If you're the most beginner, or if you're the most advanced, they have such a ceiling, you know, like for myself as a living soil, organic, kind of committed to life person, it's really nice to have a fixed to your max, not you go beyond the light's capacity. It really where you need to be in cultivation, indoors, you know, and mixed light in that capacity can really offer a really well-rounded, you know.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, man, there's just a little bit of lag here in this.
Yeah.
Darn it. Sorry, guys. I mean, that there's a little bit of lag here that we didn't anticipate.
Yeah, but but we got the thing that maybe before because we have some pictures of you, Green Body, and we also wanted to show some pictures of yours, and I was also visiting Colombia, but maybe let's have a quick look at who's connected. There's quite a few people connected. So
good.
We have Alvaro is asking, where is Jorge?
Jorge's here. I'm here. I'm in Barcelona.
Barcelona, Spain. And here we have some saludos from Ecuador. So someone is in Ecuador.
Saludos ecuatorianos.
Absolutely. It must be, it's early afternoon there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No? Oh, we got some Hawaii in the house.
All right.
Isabel, yes.
Boy, that's a different time.
And we got some good vibes in the house. Thank you, Luis.
Right.
Thank you. Humboldt present.
All
so,
right.
Yeah, okay.
Humboldt here.
Okay.
Cheers from Humboldt.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Perfect. And and so
love Humboldt.
Maybe before we go into details, just to remember, the book is available.
Yeah, well, go ahead. It's available online. You can just download it. Go to seedsman.com, or you could go to my site, Jorge-Cervantes.com, and download it there. It's a freebie. It's 100 pages, 270 photos, all color photos, and it's really well edited. And there's this new guy. He's got a doctor's degree and everything that's helped a bit on it, and it really makes a difference. You know, I mean, this is really good because we can guarantee everything is like correct. You know, I mean, this guy, he's a taskmaster. Both of these guys, both of them.
We can just blame when there is a mistake. We can just blame. Hey, he's got a PhD. It's his fault. Yes, we love that. No, Gary, come on. What was your feedback so far from the book? There's quite a few downloads, actually.
Yeah, lots of there's distinct sections in the book which went to me and they saying, "Wow, I really like this part," or "Really." One of the things we tried to achieve, right, was like, that start to finish. You really wanted to help a beginner who was struggling maybe in one area or another, because well broken up in those sections where people parts and go bang. That's the information I needed, you know.
Well, did you catch everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because, well, it's funny because although there's a lot of basic information, as you pointed out, it's very easy to fuck basic information up. You know, it really is. And it's easy to make it incorrect. So, and there's tons of editing, and I think a lot of stuff's not edited very well. And
Room
that's out there.
Yeah.
But this one I'm very pleased with the way it came out. It's a 100% professional job. And we poured through it over and over. And then too, the photos are great. They are really good.
Yeah.
We work with a lot of professional photographers, And well, two of them, one of them, Justin Cannabis is the way. Well, that's the way he's listed.com. And anyway, he's done a lot of covers for High Times, and he shot tons and tons of stuff for me for other books. And he's just like spot on, really good, knows what he's doing. And then also a new guy, Chris, Gonzo Photo. You can find him under Gonzo Photo, and he does incredible close-up work. It's really, really impressive. But it's super important to have good photos that accurately show what the text is explaining, and to keep them together, all of that stuff with layout and design.
Yeah, the information flows so much better, right? And by the way, they are asking us, when will it be available in Spanish? So we are working on translations.
We just had a meeting today with the translator, Josete, and anyway, he works with Cáñamo magazine. He started like more than 20 years ago. Yeah,
only grow articles for Cáñamo magazine.
Yes. Yeah, and he's had a regular column for more than 20 years with Cáñamo, and it means hemp magazine in Spanish, and they're here in Barcelona. And anyway, he turned in the first 2 chapters, 2 of 8 chapters today. So the other ones are forthcoming.
Yeah, we got German going on.
Yes.
We got French going on. Portuguese.
Portuguese. We're looking into Brazilian Portuguese right now.
Right. So
and anybody that talks Portuguese might want to weigh in on that if there's big differences. Because we don't talk Portuguese. Neither one of us talk Portuguese. I mean, you can understand it and stuff, but it's not like you're a native speaker. So
absolutely, this is why it's community inspired, because we need the help of everybody.
Yeah,
but the translations are coming. We are definitely moving on that part. We also already found some mistakes in the English version, but that's part of version 1. Exactly.
So that's what happens. You learn more when you make translations.
Yes.
Because you have to make sure everything's correct. And we found another mistake today. Yeah. So anyway, but we're going to go ahead and continue to translate. For example, Stefan talks 6 languages.
No, but I cannot write perfectly in 6.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can't write.
I can sneak into presentations.
Yeah. He talks quite good.
Yeah. By the way, thumbs up, guys. Thank you so much. Everybody's so positive today. We love that. Aloha. So, and from really everywhere in the world. So that's really what we want to get everybody together. Absolutely. And still related to the book, we are happy to receive emails. Yep. So the email, I had a caption here. Let's see if I'm able to put this on.
You should be able to put that up.
Yeah. There. Okay. So there is this community at Jorge-Cervantes.com, which is an email where you can take screenshots from the book or whatever you feel comfortable with, and share your pictures, share your text. There's a lot of knowledge. Everybody has their own way of growing. Actually, now we're going to see how Green Body, which is a fascinating grower in my opinion, has an approach to it. But just I always give the example of kitchen. You can go in different restaurants, different Michelin stars or whatever you want to call them, but everybody has their own approach. And at the end, what you really care of is what gets into your mouth,
what it tastes like.
What it tastes like, the food. Many ways of getting there, and it would be actually sad that there is only one way of getting there.
Definitely.
How can we share this knowledge? And I think we can get more into the.
Well, I tell you, it's really simple with Green Body. I mean, when I got to America, I was in America for 2 months this year. Right. So I go to Seattle, and, I've got like, everybody's giving me dope. I can't believe it. Like cannabis nonstop. I turned down so much of it. And, I had a kilo before I knew it. And anyway, then I get over to Green Body's gardens. And I'll tell you, I just smoked his first. I mean, it lasted me most of the trip. I wish I would have gotten more, actually, because it was really good, John. Yeah,
absolutely. And maybe before we go, hey, that was a good.
That's nice. Huh?
Jorge, shall we go talking about the green body? Why don't we go and look at some of his pictures?
Yeah,
then
good idea.
Changing, which I guess this is what we're good at, improvising. And okay, so let's see. Maybe here we see it even better. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so green body. Tell us a bit more about what you do and how you do it.
Well,
so this is a trichome, I would say, right?
That's a trichome from Mystery Haze.
Ooh,
it's a strain I created. It's basically a Hazy Kush back cross. Hazy Kush is Golden Pineapple by OG Kush Sage by a strain called Dawn. Dawn was a Eugene strain, which is Trainwreck Purple Affy. So I just kind of wanted to I was kind of trying to recreate a certain hybrid that was around Eugene in the late 90s, just experience and highs. So it kind of, funneled me to here. But personally, really like with everything, we understand that like, how are we going to create something? Well, first we have the intention to create it, So we have to understand what that intention actually is. Are we doing this to help? Are we doing this for ourselves? Are we doing this for other? Are we doing this for medicine? Are we doing this for commodity? Me personally, I've never really wanted to entangle the monetary aspect into my intention of why I'm doing it. So I really did my best to eliminate that the best I could. There's lots of philosophical tenets and everything that we can, lean towards, but really when it comes down to it, humanity is the best, and really the human nature, we want to help others. We want to be free of suffering. We want to be, we want to have a better, more clear experience. Whatever format that kind of unfolds for each person is unique, but very similar, that we all want to be free of suffering and we all want to be happy, So for me, first really starting, how are we going to do this? Well, then has to be as natural, as organic, as living, as, as possible, because just like everything, we understand that if we have a really healthy biome, a microbial fungal relation that's happening on a very small level, that in turn will create the overall health of the larger vehicle to some degree, somewhat metaphoric, but all been proven in science. And, all of it now, we have all the terminologies and all the technologies to see these relations, see the interactions, what's causing them. And really what we found over the years in almost all aspects of biology and agriculture is that a really healthy biome, a really living biome, is going to help metabolize everything faster. And in turn, what we're feeling through that process is that we feel clear, we feel aware, we feel live. Because if we're putting living organism, living biome into the creation of something, all its metabolites throughout its process of life are going to be a lot more, in balance, to be most simple, And this is my perspective on how I started this thing, because I recognize the relation between the soil and my own stomach. And the more healthy my own stomach, my gut biome, the fauna flora in my stomach, or the more healthy I felt, the more alive I felt, the more energy I felt. So then understanding that mirror-like wisdom, that the soil is very similar to our stomach on how we get all our nutrients. Well, the earth and the soil has that same balance. And so how that's digesting, how it's metabolizing, enzymes, all the probiotic relation, all the fungal relation, that really offers this balance that will in turn really create a lot of ease into cultivation, in my opinion. So for us, having a really healthy living soil, all organic, will create that balance to where really we don't have to work so hard. And then if you understand, the watering technique of, don't overwater, don't let get too dry, that's a really, once you've mastered that that process and that ebb and flow of the moisture level with the living biome, I mean, stuff starts to become just quite simple in our opinion. And really the base of that was the intention, you know. Why are we doing it? What's our result we're going for? What are we trying to accomplish? And how do we achieve that? Would that be the conditional nature of it? So really taking, you know, kind of a more higher level philosophy format, but simplifying it all into just a human nature format. Really, it was kind of the base of what we call intentional horticulture, you know, and really that is for us is really our core to the green Bodhi method and technique. When you start to balance organics with your intention, I mean, at least it's a easy start, you know, and a balanced start and a good foundation to move forward with, you know, like from our opinion, at least, you know.
Yes.
It's interesting to say it's actually less work.
Exactly.
And that's the best part, actually, or that's one of the best parts.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Because that's what I found out. You know, it takes a while to build an organic garden. You know, it's about 2 to 3 years, and then after that, it's just so easy. Everything is you work less, much less. The soil seems to fix all of the problems for you. You know, I remember I have always sometimes high pH water, and you water it. You put the water on the soil, and it drops 1.5. It's like magic. It's incredible. So this trichome is pretty interesting too.
Oh yeah, that trichome was definitely one of the you know, I don't know, one of the classic shots from our guys, you know.
Excellent. And how about this? Here's another photo. This one's of yours.
Yeah, that's a tester, a genetic tester room with the Phos Scorpio in it, and as you can see, the lights have the ability to tilt and everything, and you know, so we can basically utilize them to penetrate in certain areas that we want. This is where we're just testing here, and these are pretty simple style setups, you know, because we do a lot of pruning, but really this kind of techniques are really hands-off technique. Because it's all about the setup, you know, it's all about how we're pruning, how we're designing the structure of the plant from the beginning. And then from there, it's quite easy. It's just about managing the moisture levels of the soil. So we do a lot of top dressing, you know, whatever type of dry amendments, compost, forest humus, earthworm castings, things like that. So we're getting a lot of our biolife from the castings and the forest humus, and you know, and then adding different enzymatic stuff to it. So you know, it's really
It might be interesting. I would be happy to hear, Gary. What you know? There is a lot of. I strongly believe that growing a plant is not just a checklist. That there is a feeling, that there is a vibe, as Green Body is very clearly saying. But from a scientist perspective, how do you see there is more and more evidence now that everything is in one big good vibe, right? Your take.
100%. So I think this is exactly along I came around to through types of plants, and actually, like a good example what Green Body's talking about here is like obviously over fertilization of agricultural runoff of fertilizer, and that can, you know, forest areas, and throughout Europe, when you try and regenerate this, you know, the bad agricultural practices plant, you can't really get it back until intervene with the biome. Then, you know, but manage 65% uplift in area. So you don't even need to consider what you focus in on the biome, and you can restore the forest. It's interesting because it goes back to a philosophy that's still being in some of the native tribes in southern America, basically wild forest. You know, they grow there, but they maybe grow more in a certain area. But all these sophisticated methods that from the open, it just looks like a wild forest. But these guys they're not buying nutrients and bringing all these things in. And I think that's the lesson, right? Is we can as well as at home and just try to figure out that is really key to it. And science all backs it up. There's been many things that have done a little bit of work on probiotic plants and seen a 25% increase. That's on a sterile plate, just inoculating what called dairy, which is a type of you can see a 25% increase in the and that's that's just one interaction. We've only really scraped the surface of what's going on from an academic standpoint, but I think it's in the pudding. Is smoke mature stuff, and he was all in, and that's testament to it. I strongly believe that doing it that way, and that is the way to do it. Check cancers everywhere. You can do it. There's many different ways, different flavors, or whatever. Different, but I think this way is the most true to what the plant needs. To be honest.
Well, and also we reuse our soil. So even though we're growing in containers, whether it be a 15-gallon container or a 10-gallon, smart pot felt container, or a bed or whatever, it doesn't matter. We can just pull the stalk out and reintroduce a new clone right where the plant was, and just go from there without any disturbing. And it's the amount of labor, everything that's reduced, and the cost that's reduced by reusing your soil for 3, 4, 5 years. And then even that soil that's live, reintroducing it as a inoculate to your future soils. It's very, very cost effective, very in tune with nature.
So this is all in containers. In containers, what size the containers? And do you take the soil out of the containers and you keep just the same soil in the same container?
Exactly. And we
That's
don't even.
beautiful.
Yeah, you can just pull what I like to do is, I don't do it as a true no-till, but we'll pull the heart and the stalk out from where that was out, but leave all the other root mass and just pull that that root heart out, and then put something right back in there. And the reason I do this is because about 15 years ago, I used to not save my soil. And I saved my soil for about 2 years in this huge pile out in this greenhouse, and I basically have it covered. And when I had to move, I was going to deal with the soil. And when I pulled the tarp off the soil, all the glass roots, I don't know the technical name for them, but all the most small, fine, it looked very glassy, almost like rice noodles. But all the entire mass of pile that was probably 30 feet long by about 8 feet wide was all connected. So it became, all the mycorrhizae, all connected everything to where the entire pile was like a root mat, like a really delicate glassy root mat. And I was like, so I don't know if this is true or not, but what I theorized at that moment is that, if I leave the roots from the previous plant in the container, all the biolife, all the mycorrhizae will then fuse with the future plant that's coming in there and create a relation of something, that was already there, now new incoming, and basically tie in that entire mycorrhizae net to the entire container. So I'm not sure if that's what's happening, but from what I saw and then what I understand, however little it might be in biology and botany, it seemed like that, So I don't know, maybe if Gary can expand to that or not, but.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, And how big is the container?
These containers are 15 gallon.
15 gallons. Okay, that's a good size container. Yeah. Could you weigh in on that, Gary? That's pretty interesting.
Absolutely. And I don't know, Gary, we had some connection problems before. I don't know if you want to try to maybe with the cam so we can hear you better, because before we had a few interruptions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So,
Is that better? Any better?
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
it appears so, but you got to talk more. So we can, you got to talk for a longer period of time so we can tell if it breaks up.
Yeah.
That's much,
I've got a shiny
better.
much better.
Tiny. Yeah, so that's a really not thought about the network and the signaling aspect of leaving the roots in, but in is best to preserve the soil. I was thinking of it more of a kind of it's like a basically you're creating a cycle of life. So when you have dying, feeding other microbes and things in the soil. So interesting thing I would like to ask you back, John, is do you have insects at all involved in the process? They directly will decay and chew up the biomass, decay and basically poop out that which is then eaten by various microbes. So that there is insects involved, but it can be done without insects as well. Insects involved in your system?
Yeah, so we have all types of little soil mites, different types of soil fungi, and all kinds of bugs running around there. If you were to disturb the soil, first you'd see soil mites, worms everywhere. It's like every if you remove a handful of dirt, you're for sure seeing 10 worms.
Yeah, already. Yeah, I think that's a perfect. That's why your system works so well. That full cycle going. And actually, just thinking back to your point about signaling, it kind of makes the tarp, as I think about it and let it kind of ferment for a second, because what you have there is it exists. If the microbes or the insects come along and they chew it and they leave a trail, the mycelia starts to then build along that trail, then obviously that will span. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That could build the network there. The decaying like tunnels cut through the soil, which the microbes will then, or this whatever, break down that biomass into nutrients. And then obviously in turn the microbes, the living plant, it's a full cycle there, and there's evidence for each stage here, and it's been essentially what I believe is going on there is whatever is best for the plant signaled to the microbes, and the microbes are then responding and then to the plant. I believe that there's probably an element of nutrient or dictation by some of the bugs in the soil, and you can benefit of the plant or not. I would say probably is to the benefit of the plant. Whether the plant wants, a different question again. But as you say, when intention then those things kind of answer themselves, because it's the way it's meant to be, essentially. But absolute science to back up this, and I believe that what you're seeing there is basically an ecosystem, and the result is what you see on the screen here. These stunning.
Yeah, it's important to keep a clean ecosystem in that direction. As much as this life can be the source of a lot of positive things, it can also be the source of, so you have to know a little bit what you're doing in that direction to maintain a certain level of hygiene and cleanliness. I mean, it's alive.
Well, yeah.
But it cannot go rotten, so to say. So you gotta have that vibe, right?
Yeah, it can get away from you very real easily. I mean, the bad ones can outpopulate the good ones.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different good and bad ones too.
Sounds
But
like
this
Earth.
sounds exactly like what's happening, like if you would grow in a raised bed or outdoors, except in a smaller environment. And that's the fascinating thing, that you've managed to create it in a 15-gallon container rather than in a, a 4 by 10 bed that's 3 feet deep. Because it's completely different dynamics there.
For sure.
It's pretty amazing, and to get a good population of earthworms in there too, and and they stay alive. There's plenty for them to eat as well.
Well, also we keep reintroducing through the castings, because there's lots of larvae in castings, so it just keeps populating.
Okay. So that's one
Do
of
you
the
use
things
any
too.
kind
That'd be
of mulching for the top of the soil?
I just use EM as a liquid, the effective mother culture, and then I also it's all top dressing, so I don't use any type of emulsions or anything, just top dressing through different types of whatever I want, pelletized, dry, nutrient, organic, or blood meal, or whatever, glacier rock, or whatever I feel like, or and then that's it, really, to be honest. And I try not to disturb the top much, because I'm using that technique as like a time released, so if I put something on it, I know within a week it's going to be fully starting to become active. If I can get 2 to 3 waters in on it, after about the third water, a top dress in a nice living soil becomes extremely active, and you can see the results by the third water generally, if your soil's live enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm going a bit off topic, but there's a comment about trying aquaponics. Someone wants to try aquaponics. Anybody of you has any direct experience? I've seen quite a few farms in Canada, but I've never run it myself.
A lot of work. My friend did a little one, and it's kind of hard to start up from this small perspective. And it took a chemical startup, an ammonium nitrate or something like that, to start it up. And and then once the fish became active and started doing their thing, then that subsided off, is how he did it. I haven't really seen it. I've seen some huge facilities that are doing it. Really impressive. I don't know if they're holding a full organic, if they're having to introduce some type of ammonium nitrate or ammonium phosphate into the program, but that's all I know personally.
Yeah. I visited one in Canada, was pretty healthy, but the entire operation looked like you really need to know what's going on.
Well, you got to keep it balanced.
Exactly. It's not just water the plants and run away. You want to have a quick, deep understanding of the entire situation.
Yeah.
By the way, someone is saying, I know we're going a bit off topic, sorry, from the interview, but just to get a few comments in from the public, and that you are a treasure to the world. And
Thank you.
I agree, actually. So thank you,
Same.
Napoleon.
Thank you.
And someone else is saying something that I also noticed when I was growing back in Switzerland, that sometimes the cold stress, so the stress generated from cold temperatures, can bring out more purples. Is that something you guys agree with?
100%.
Yes, for sure.
100%. And Gary knows every last detail of the science. That's great. It's great.
Actually,
it's great. Gary, you're the best, man.
When you Google on Scholar,
things. Two quick things.
Please.
Is the pigment responsible for the purple coloration? And think about the natural fall season as the temperatures drop, all the foliage is changed to yellow and red. It's basically what's happening to the plant as you drop the temperature. It thinks it's getting to the end of that into the fall, so it's just going through its natural aging process. You're just by doing so.
You can also induce. I wasn't sure for this reason, Gary. Maybe you can explain. But when you induce different spectrums late, you can also, like, if you put, like, say, more blues, into your later cycle, you can induce that anthocyanin like release as well. Do you know the reason for that?
I would take a shot in the dark that it was by shifting the light spectrum. There is that anthocyanin pigment then, and it's for its natural processes to occur. Each of the different light receptors will respond to different frequencies of different wavelengths of light. So I would imagine by shifting the spectrum, you cause an increase in at least in the anthocyanin, for example, so that it can then better receive the light from that spectrum. I would get.
Yeah,
Cool.
basically certain spectrums will express more anthocyanins than others, right? If I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
I would take a shot at that, and maybe getting a little bit outside of the grow room, but I think it's just as important. Can you tell us? I know you have a few projects going on. By the way, Savut Yen is saying green body plants look really great, and I fully agree.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I've seen them myself.
Yeah.
I tell you, and I want to say again, I smoked your dope the first, man. It was the best. it's like oh, I would share the other stuff with people. I wouldn't share yours. It was that bad. I took a visual inventory, like always. It's like, okay, I've got this. I've got 12 days left, and I've got. Oh God, that's not enough.
Absolutely.
So I didn't share yours.
Absolutely.
Sick. I wanted to give you more. I tried to leave you with more.
Well, yeah, I know, but I already had like the whole Trump roll by then. Hell.
Absolutely. That was one of the reasons why I was very sad to not see again. I only saw once Green Body in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah,
And then
that's the problem.
No, of course, it's the pleasure of being together, but also usually the fragrances that come along.
So this gives a new meaning to pothead, eh?
Yeah, this is intentional hunting of Green Body. Yes.
All right. Well, this is a good thing.
Yeah,
I like your potheads. Yeah.
I really have to speak up to that.
Yeah.
Quality.
No, this is
Whoa.
a very good program.
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell us more about the programs. Sorry, we are getting sidetracked here.
So this is a project I started with my two friends in India. I've been going to India for about 12 years now, pretty, consistently. We follow, and are connected with His Holiness the Dalai Lama and his monastery, Namgyal Monastery. So we have quite a relation with India there. So this here is a project called Wells of Dharma that I started with my two friends, Waqar and Javed. And they live in Bodh Gaya. So basically in Bihar region of India, it's one of the poorest regions of India. They don't have running water. A lot of the villages are extremely, extremely poor. And the way that the caste system works there's really not much help for them, So we started this project where we put in hand pump water wells in these villages around the city of Bodh Gaya. We have a very close connection with the city of Bodh Gaya because from a Buddhist perspective, from a Buddhist historical lineage format, that's where Shakyamuni Buddha become enlightened in the sacred city of Bodh Gaya. So we first went there to receive a Kalachakra initiation from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and then met these two boys. Now they're young men in their mid-late 20s now. So this is the project that we started together last year. And I think we're on wells 72 and 73 are being built right now. They're almost finished. So, I started just doing one as kind of a joke, actually, like, because we were all receiving these like $700 and some like COVID checks, and everyone was very active about talking about helping others at that moment, So I said, hey, if everyone's, put your money where your mouth is, you put, it's only $700 and we can build a well in a village in India the people have no water, and they only can have access to top water or bottled water or, so, it started and a lot of people got behind it. And now, we're going pretty well. And out of all our projects, we have this project And then we have we're working with the Library, Learning Center, and Museum of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Those are our two main heart projects, but this one is very grassroots practical. The entire cannabis community's got behind it, as you see here. This is Green Life Productions. Steve and Conan Cantwell, they're like the most amazing people. And, Steve was a UFC champion, mixed martial artist, and his ethos and life and how he does things and how they're doing things with the food production and organics, living soil. They're in Las Vegas and they do living soil, no-till, organic, just like top tier of Nevada. Really amazing. And I think probably one of the only organic cannabis companies there in the state, is why they do so well. And what was really cool about FOS and Green Life Productions, when they heard about this project, they both donated for 5 wells instantly, without even just boom,
Yeah.
So it was really cool, to get that support. And then also with the support of the community, just random people don't even want credit. People, it's very cool, So anyway, Wells of Dharma on Instagram is the name of our
Yes.
project.
Yeah, I added the hashtag here, and also intentional horticulture. If you search intentional horticulture hashtag, you will pop into a lot of great pictures and videos. Some of them published on the channels of Jorge with great success. I remember the pollination one on Instagram.
Oh, that was a fun one.
That was real.
Total pollination.
Total pollination.
I think I'll have to repost that one on my, because we keep getting clipped off of Instagram. So we have I'll post it on my new one, my new one.
New, yeah, the Zuki factor. Yeah. Oh, I got shadowed. Yes, but apparently everybody does. So I think we're all just in the same pot or same boat.
Same pot.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's a good pot to be in,
Yes, and we just do it with good.
Yeah.
And then one day you are shadowed because now artificial intelligence is.
No, it's all.
Yes,
It's such a hassle.
Anyway,
we need something new.
Yeah, absolutely. So I maybe had a few pictures also to show you about. I was actually in Colombia. So
you just came back a couple days ago, yeah?
Absolutely. Just after Vegas. So this was with the nice team there in Colombia. There was a meeting of the association there of Asocolcana, it's called, of all the licensed producers in Bogota, with the government, the Ministry of Justice. They already had 4 times they voted in the chambers for adult use now. Exactly. So it's a complex thing. They have to go back and forth at least 7 times. But yesterday they voted for the 4th, and it's moving on. That's for adult use. While now medical cannabis can also be exported as flower, which was not possible before from Colombia.
Right.
And obviously, Colombia is on the equator. So instead of having seasons, they basically have 12 hours of light, 12 months
all
a year.
year long.
Exactly.
All year long.
And,
the whole tropics is
and some years ago, so this is actually me last week in Colombia. They asked me to stand like a pro, so I did my best intentions there. But what makes me really proud of this greenhouse, it's and I would love to also bring about that, is the fact that we are using only natural sunlight, and you have 5 crops a year. And I think the more and more it will be possible to have international trade.
Yeah.
This is going to be commoditized. I mean, the usual thing is how much of the coffee of Starbucks is grown in Seattle, and the answer is not that much.
No, zero. The thing is Colombia, I was there for several months a few years ago and learned a lot about the climate. And I'll tell you, the sun is so bright, it's just closer to the earth. So the rays of the sun, the sun is super intense, and it can grow incredible cannabis there. But you've got to use lights. You've got to use lights.
Absolutely. In this case, it's already flowering, but there's some extra light in the morning just to compensate the amount, the exact amount for for light intensity, but then at 11 o'clock in the morning, you have 2,000 pars outside. So that's two 1,000 watt lamps, like full power. So it gets really nice. And what was really difficult here, and then I'd love to hear also maybe some input from Greenbody and Gary, but here was really to bring in this culture where everything is standardized. Now, if you want to export to Germany, you have the monography that says that the cannabinoid content has to be within a range of 10% of what declared on the label. So if you say it's a 20% THC, any sample in it has to be between 18 and 22% THC.
Boy.
So if
That's
you don't
pretty
standardize
big.
your production, you will never get to a point where you're standardizing your cannabinoids, and it gets even more challenging if you're working with natural sunlight. But to my pride in that direction, after almost 4 years of intense work and training and rescheduling, because of course the financial marks, they change, so the project has to change, and everything has to change.
And the government red tape there is like overwhelming.
Exactly.
You know.
But I was feeling really good about this last week, and I was walking around here and seeing what these guys have done. This is at 2,500 meters above sea level, so it's cold at night, really intense mountain light.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
There's so many different climates in Colombia too. Because Bogota, it's like it's over a mile high, and then gosh, you go over to Cali and you're over at just above sea level.
Yeah,
and a completely different climate, completely different plants grow over there. Everything.
Yeah, Gary, maybe your when you see a picture like this, what's your first reaction?
Well, I really like a nice level short canopy. That's the production. That's for under the standards in which you need to work. That's what I want to see. I mean, everything looks lush. It looks good. I'm wondering, with a 12-hour day, does it take the sun to get up and actually hit the plants? And then when does it actually? Because obviously 12 hours of light, you've got probably like half an hour, or maybe each light on the plants. Maybe, I don't know. That move the sun pretty quickly.
Yes, and you can look at that also from the DLI. So you are right to say there are moments where it goes more and moments where you have less, and it can compensate during the day. This was just that during one of the trials, because this is one of the months with less intensity in the morning. We were trying to use those lights, which in general they're only used to keep the plants vegging,
right?
Because you always have 12 hours, and so this was there. But of course, at this distance, they also don't influence as much as if you were closer. It's more of a 50 to 100 par extra by keeping them in those hours of the morning.
But you get it to spread out quite a bit more.
Absolutely. No, and it helps.
And how is the airflow? Because the plants look pretty crammed in. So is there plenty of air getting between the plants with anything like that, mold or anything?
Absolutely. No? Yes, you can see at the end of the greenhouse, which is actually in this case it's a Richel greenhouse from France. You have those fans that make a vacuum, and on the other side, actually from the side where the photographer is to take the picture, you have some water walls. Right. And so there is the real problem is at night it gets like 4 degrees Celsius outside normally, or it can get to 0. So you have to use a little bit of heating that's done through a gas system. And during the day, depending on the day, it can get above 25 degrees. So in these cases, that's where the airflow, it creates a vacuum, and you use the water walls to bring in some breeze and humidity.
And that also has a natural flow to it, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I remember Tony was explaining it to
me.
I remember right before he bought it. It was but I was down there before he bought it. And we were looking at it. And,
the entire greenhouse is designed in a way that you create a very homogeneous and uniform microclimate.
top to bottom.
Exactly.
And it rolls like that.
Exactly. Also, what I noticed a lot is when you look at when you want to standardize to reach that famous range of the monograph, so you have to take a lot of samples at different heights of the plant to see. We call it what is a fillet and what is hamburger. So what is really the flower which is standardized between that range, and what goes to extraction because it's small little flowers usually at the bottom which go outside of the range. No? And contrary to when you grow only indoors, here, because there is so much more light diffusion, there is less difference. So when you grow indoors, of course, it depends how you lollipop, it depends how many lamps you put, and but there tends to be more difference between the apex, so the top of the plant, and the bottom. So you might have, I don't know, 23% on the apex and 12% on the bottom.
Really? Because it's backwards here.
It gives more shade. Exactly.
Here, no, because it stretches first,
exactly.
and that's because of the light diffusion.
Absolutely. And here, in this case, because there is more diffusion and there is less differences between the top and the bottom. Obviously, there are some techniques that you have to put in place also to avoid having too many branches, which create the extra shadows. But once you put those in place in a greenhouse like this, you have less differences between the plants.
Yeah, because it looks totally uniform.
Yes.
And is this from cuttings or seed?
This is all from cuttings, 100%.
All from cutting.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Origin of the genetics, Stefan, are they some kind of like landrace based or something?
You're cutting up.
I'm asking about the genetics of the strain. What genetics are you using there?
This is a variety called BW, and it's a local variety, and there are 4,800 plants, and it's all the same variety. I would say it's a hybrid, yes. And but Jorge is showing me, we've already done the full hour here. So that was just, I wanted to show quickly a few things here. But let's have maybe a quick look. Jorge, you also had a few pictures.
Right. I'll show you a few of the things I went to.
Because we have to wrap it up.
Yeah, just one photo. I got one or two photos from each garden. This was down in, let's see, that was it. Josh, I forget his last name, Sunny Valley Farms in Grants Pass, Oregon. But these are all auto flowers, and they're like 2.5 months old on the short end to 2.5 months, and they planted them about 2 feet apart, really close. So this is kind of an unrealistic photo. But what happened is they all really took off, and they're really tall. Yeah, I'm 5 feet 8
inches. You look pretty
inches.
Small, actually.
Yes, yeah, and that's I mean, it's like I don't know, 8 feet wide or 12 feet wide, something like that, and 300 feet long. So this is one of the things I saw over there. There was a couple of things with autoflowers here, and they didn't really know what they had. They were starting to work with it, but there was another guy I saw up north. I don't have a photo of him in this talk, but I'll his name is Dr. Clint Shock, and he's had some killer autoflowers, and these things grow super fast. I'm really excited about the things we're seeing with the autoflowers. I think they can really develop into something. If you look at some more photos too.
Yeah, it's slowly changing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah. This is out in front of. This is the view from Aaron Getty's room, and all of those. That's about what is that, about 8 feet wide of cannabis, and long rows. I think he's got the legal limit there for the biggest garden you can get, and that's his lake in the back. And it's just amazing to see how much cannabis is growing there. That was the whole thing on this photo was, nobody in Spain has a view like that out the front window. I mean, it's a big thing for us over here in Europe, Gary, isn't it? And for John, it's like normal. Yeah. Green body is like a regular thing, everyday occurrence. And so these just take a while to load.
Yeah.
Oh, and then here's another one. This was in Southern Oregon. I just hit the time there, and these plants are huge. There's just so many of them. That's the main point of the photograph, and that's the main point here, just to show the volume. And these guys have so much cannabis. I saw, let's see, I think about 1.5 tons in boxes at this place, because the market, there's only 3 million, 4 million people in Oregon, and everybody can grow. And just this field would probably, supply a whole town, or I mean a good sized city of cannabis for a few months, So I mean it's amazing how much they can grow there.
So by the way, somebody doesn't believe the previous autos. Are you sure they're autos?
Yes. I couldn't believe it. I had to ask about 10 times.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it. I asked a million questions, and they didn't seem to know much about it. So I mean that was a little difficult to understand. They didn't know a lot about it, but the thing is, they just grow so much because one of the things about the autos we learned that there's only a couple of genes that control that.
Yeah.
So you can take those genes and basically breed them into a very large sativa that's a fast grower. For example, a fast grower that everybody knows is like Blue Dream, real fast and stuff. So you make that into an autoflower, and it's going to trigger, after 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, whatever. And then, but when it flowers, it's going to flower out big. So you get a fast growing auto, and you put it with a fast growing sativa dominant plant that produces heavy, and you get just like these super monster plants. Yeah.
What does Jorge, the god for cannabis, mean?
I don't know. It's a confusing thing. That.
Yeah.
Wow.
That sounds like all the cannabis print.
Pardon?
Did you hear me?
No, I didn't hear that. Oh, here's another one. That's in the same field. I just took another one. I was standing in the same place. It's just the field's just big. Okay, there's a lot smaller. That's a lot better.
That's now going to the next one. So, sorry, Gary, what was the comment you said? I didn't understand.
I don't know if you can hear me so well, but I was just saying when Jorge is God for cannabis, it sounds to me like he's trying to say that Jorge is the God for cannabis. So,
We should have El Dia Santo.
Yes.
No, they already have. Here in Spain, we have San Canuto. It's the saint of the joint smokers. You have to say that they San Canuto. We got a saint for everything here. And here's one. This was over. This was over at what farm? Atlas Seeds in. And this one too, they have these really cool little net pots. We saw those over in Switzerland too, but they have them in America, and they're really good because you don't have to pull them off or anything. The roots grow right through them, and they disintegrate in the soil, so they're really a nice thing. And and those guys, and I like these. I really like these pots too, or these trays, because they're deep. See, you get the roots you get, and you see the roots go straight down. It's really good, especially for seedlings, because when you plant outside, you can get a good strong taproot, and that's why I took the picture, because that's what you got. Now it's a perfect time to transplant that.
And Gary, I let you read the
Yes.
message. What does he say?
Pick up Gary the Scot. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's Scottish.
And well, here we have a new serious question.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to talk to my wife.
Yes.
We've already got 3 chihuahuas.
Absolutely. And
So this is good, boy. We've got quite a few. This is.
oh yeah,
this
there's
is
been
nice.
hundreds of messages. Sorry, it's difficult. It's first time I tried to use this new software, but I think we improved a little bit.
We've improved
yeah,
from the
we have
last
to-
time, but we've got more improvements. We can definitely see them. The next program will be quite a bit better.
Yeah, there was also
Yeah,
some
well, technical stuff, mainly the technical stuff.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
because all of us, we've been pretty much perfect.
Pretty much. If the God says that, we definitely believe it. Green Body, maybe from your side, just to clean up, to wrap it up. One of the reasons we wrote this book is for beginners, to have like a safety starting point. There is so much CEO going on today. You Google stuff, you find information, but it doesn't match, and maybe you've trained a lot of people into becoming new growers. What are your tips on starting, and what do you recommend being careful about?
I mean, for me, some of the most important things is not, especially with organics, is not overfeeding.
Yep.
Starting light, giving light amounts, and giving the time to allow things to happen. That's really major, because in organics, if you give too much, it's hard to get that back. It's hard to, if you ruin a crop with too much nutrients organically, that one's done. You usually got to start next time or do some massive kind of flushing. But that being said, I think it's very simple to just start light. Just, if you're doing top dressing for, say, a 5-gallon container, start with a teaspoon, 5 milliliters of dry product to that, water it in, allow it, Another crucial thing I think for beginners is overwatering. A lot of beginners overwater,
or water control. Good water control, and
yeah,
it's really crucial. Very crucial.
Yes.
And the way
it's
so
so important, and it's such a simple little simple thing you'd think, but it's huge.
Yes.
Huge.
And I think it's maybe in human instinct to do it wrong. No,
with that one for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to allow. For me, I pick up the container, let it keep picking it up until I get a meter of what a light container for that size is, and a heavy container. And what a heavy container is right after you water it. A light container, if will take 3, 5, 7 days sometimes to dry out, depending on the plant size. So understanding the plant size in relationship to the container and the moisture value by weight, it's really, I think, a good way for a beginner to start to understand the ebb and flow of the plant.
Yep. And when you get really good, you can just tip the pots.
Or you can just look at the top of the container and know how dry that looks, and how if it's come away from the pot, or if it's attached, or what the color is. I mean, that's how I do it. I don't pick up anything. I usually look at the top and the bottom, and by the bottom hole of the pot, you can read a lot from that hole.
Perfect. Yeah, it's all experience. It's all experience.
Yes, in larger productions, like the pictures I was showing before, we actually do it with weight. So actually the weight of the pot at the beginning, when you want to study a variety, so you have that big, large batch of 4,000 plants, because then every small change has an impact on the rest of the room. So you want to be very precise. But of course, people with the experience and eye and feeling, I think, connection that everybody has, in those situations, definitely. Yeah. But it's just very important to grasp the logic. You know, you don't want to keep on feeding it.
No,
we know you love that plant.
See,
we
so
know
much.
you want this water, but it's not about giving more water because you love it more.
Well, there's so much that affects the watering, you know. And I'm glad you brought up weight, because there's like a simple rule of thumb that I always use, 50% rule. You water the plant the pot to saturation with the plant in it, and that's like 100%. It's all full of water. When it weighs half as much, that's 50% is full of water, and that's when you should water it. That's a real good starting point, and then you can fine tune from there. But it's it's quite an easy thing. And this is even fine tuning more, because they came up with that on greenhouse growing years and years ago with the weight of the pot, and they would actually had an automatic watering system that would water given the weight of the pot. You know, when there was a trigger. When it would go below a certain weight, the table would get watered.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All righty.
Oh.
And so, by the way, someone is telling you you have another room waiting for you in Sonoma. So
yeah, well, that's nice.
Everywhere there is a grow room waiting for Jorge to take pictures.
We should hear every month now. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, and this garden right here. This is one of the tunnels over at Los Alamos Gardens. They have 100 acres. 100 acres, about 40 hectares. But 100 acres under cultivation. About 95% is in raised bed, 5% in containers, and it's just incredible. And this is it's all organic soil. And the thing is, they've got these hoop houses. And they can take the plastic off, put the plastic back on, put shade over there. There's a lot of options here. They water it with a drip system, and they use the absolute minimum of work and money to grow the most amount of cannabis, which to me is brilliant. You know, and they just do a good job of a real simple process. And do it over and over. They've got also companion plants, you know. They've got plants to catch insects. It's an impressive place. It really is. I've got a video. I don't know. I don't think have I posted that yet?
Yeah.
But it's like 8 minutes long, just driving around this place, and I only go through half of it.
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a real big one. My friend Jimmy Sadaji, or Jimmy the chef, is in charge of the breeding and everything there, and he's had a heck of a lot to do with organizing the farm and making sure that everything's strong and healthy. But it's just like John said, once you get a good organic garden in, it's less work. It's
Absolutely.
just less work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we need to wrap it up. We are already 20 minutes out of or longer than forecasted. But we'll keep this monthly. So it's every first Wednesday of the month. We still undecided the one in January because there is Christmas break in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
We got
it's the first Wednesday. Let's see. We could put it. Actually, we should look at the date right now.
But for sure, the idea is to, help us out with the book. Let's improve it. Share your pictures. Share your ideas. Do more intentional. El cuatro. Okay, so the fourth.
Yeah.
The fourth. Definitely do more intentional horticulture. We have this very interesting presence of Green Body. Green Body, you want to wrap it up from your side? What's your plan during the next month?
We're going to be launching a new seed site. We got some. We're doing a launch with the Seedsman also, thanks to Jorge, and then also we got a lot of new things coming up in the front of the year. But really, those are our two major objectives right now: to really try to get as much seed out to the community as possible, because we feel that the community needs a new invigoration of, older genetics, landrace genetics, entangled with the newer hybrids, and really kind of bring a invigoration of the genetic pool is really our main intention of this next 6 months, to be honest, year, 2 year, whatever. But we're really finding a lot of support there of doing a lot of these landrace hybrids with the newer school hybrids. So.
Yes. We all love the new stuff, but we certainly don't want to lose the old stuff.
I'm still a Northern Light haze junkie. I mean,
we got you. We got you.
Since I'm not in Eugene, Oregon now, that's all I want to. That's what I smoke here.
Absolutely. And Gary, what about yourself? You've been traveling a lot lately.
Yeah.
I'm traveling at home, thankfully. I'm going to enjoy a nice break over Christmas, and the next one with me in the same room, maybe, because I think it's just easier. An issue as well, no more than usual, let's say. But yeah, and then I think maybe the 9th of January to St. Vincent, and then possibly a month. So yeah, quite a lot of traveling and schedule, but it's all good. So that's the most important thing.
Nice. I'm actually happy. I'm done with the traveling. So there was a lot of flights lately. And I don't like it so much anymore, actually.
No.
It's either I'm getting old or
No, he wanted me to come, and I said I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. Okay, first you fly to Las Vegas, and you hang out with this crazy schedule. See, I got 69 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then right after the fair, he gets on the plane and goes straight down to Colombia to Bogota, and he's here for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I don't even know if it was
busy time too, and then he shows up here 2 days ago.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was how you say it was a straight line to go to Colombia.
No, it was actually, it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense to go there. I mean, because you cut off like about 10 hours or 12, 14 hours of traveling.
Yeah, okay.
Instead of making 2 trips, but still,
Nice.
quite a while.
Absolutely
on the road.
And so, and who was this guy? Yeah, I think we had we mentioned it before.
Oh, right, my double. I have a double. It's a low budget double.
Yes. I think I had a picture here. Let's see.
Is there?
It doesn't come.
I don't know. There is it? No, not that one. They took him everywhere.
A double. Yes. Absolutely. So, guys, thank you so much for. Oh, that's what I was trying to get. Is everybody there? And thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Send us your emails. Yes, I'll let the last one here. Send us your emails with pictures, with ideas on how to improve it. And we actually want to invite more people on the live stream next time, of whoever has something interesting to you.
Yeah, that sounds good. I would also, we've got to get these technical things sorted out. You know, like for example, I've got bad lighting in the room we're shooting in at my house.
Yeah, some connections.
And there's also connections. You know, buffers.
Yes, but hey, we're still here. We're still rocking. And thank you so much for downloading the book and supporting us. Yes,
definitely.
We're enjoying it.
Oh, yeah, it's free.
Yeah, it's free.
Nice
Bye, everybody.